How's it going, you guys? AZCloud21 back again with another episode of our UFC Save in WMMA 5. And here for you today, we've got Frank Mir versus Brendan Schaub, kind of turning back the time a little bit to like the early 2010s. So yeah, you can say Travis Brown also on the show, Anthony Smith taking on Alexander Gustafsson, Nelson versus Perry, got Cody Garbrandt and Justin Gaethje on the show. Justin Gaethje's been going through a tough time in this save. 3 straight losses. Conor McGregor, Jeremy Stephens, and Mark Chikashi. Yikes. He finds himself down to high-level regional popularity. Ouch. He takes on Paul Felder. Should be a good card overall. Our next episode will be UFC Prospect Showdown. Not that important of an episode, but it's nice to see what the prospects are looking like. And then UFC 274, some bad news. Amanda Nunes injured during her training camp. She is not going to be defending her title against Megan Anderson. I tried literally everything I could to see if I can get some sort of the interim championship fight to fit into that, but it wasn't going to be happening. I tried to see if I could get Kayla Harrison, Alexis Dufresne. It wasn't happening. It's too close to the fight night to get someone going for this fight card. So that fight altogether is just canceled. Nunes is going to be injured for like 3 months, I believe now. So the new main event is Claudia Gadelha defending her strawweight title against Rose Namajunas. And updated, or moved up to the main card is Michelle Prazeres and Joey Davis. Going through and watching the old episodes on YouTube to catch up. Burns versus Chiesa now, long way away. Hey, keep going. It's a lot to take in, but it's a lot of stuff going on, and I appreciate you going through all the episodes, Ricky. Hope you're having a good one. As always, be sure to like the video, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Twitch and Twitter, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and get into this fight night. Mir versus Schaub, taking place in Maine, all the way up in Bangor, Maine. Get some lobster after the fight night, perhaps. And our first prelim is Simon Biong taking on Carlos Vamola. Vamola, a heavy favorite at 31-6, 36 years of age, making his UFC debut against Biong. 6'6", 1-1 in the UFC, and Vamola gets the unanimous decision victory, despite it being a poor fight, probably because he is a wrestler. Up next, Nzek Chukwu taking on Alexa Kamer in the light heavyweight division. Alexa Kamer 3-0 in the UFC, coming off a win over Bukauskas. Nzek Chukwu 3-1 in the UFC, coming off a win over Alan Baudat. And Kamer stays undefeated, now 9-0 with the win over Kennedy. Moving on, Giacomo Lemos taking on Simon Bayor. Lemos 9-0, still undefeated, taking on Bayor. 23-8, 1-0 in the UFC, coming off a win over Jarvis Daniel. Lemos 2-0 in the UFC, coming off a win over Felipe Lins, who he just cut. Sanders is asking if we're going to add a 165 and 195 pound division and move welterweight to 175. That could be something we do. That could be pretty interesting. The thing with that is it would allow for more titles, to be defended and whatnot, but it also kind of thins out the other divisions a little bit, But I mean, as long as you have pretty strong divisions, that's not necessarily going to be a problem. I just feel like the way that it is right now, it's pretty good. Maybe if I was to do a 165 division and move 170 to 175, I could see myself doing that. And then maybe doing like a big tournament. I think that would be a good idea. Maybe that's something we consider doing. Lemos taking on Bayor, and Giacomo Lemos stays undefeated, now 10-0 with a first round submission. Dvalishvili, who's having a good time in real life, struggling in this save, takes on Mateus Vasco in the bantamweight division. Vasco making his UFC debut and getting a win via unanimous decision in his debut over Dvalishvili, who might be getting cut, honestly. 10-7, I think that's his 3rd straight loss. That's a tough go for him. We might be saying goodbye. Up next in the bantamweight division, Taylor Lapilus taking on Bruno Gustavo da Silva. Da Silva 2-2 in the UFC, coming off a loss to Louis Smolka. Lapilus, on the other hand, 3-3 in the UFC, coming off 2 straight losses. These guys are basically fighting for their jobs right here, and Da Silva might have just sent Lapalus to the unemployment line. 3 straight losses in a pretty weak division altogether. Yikes. Up next, Super Sodiq Yusuff taking on Ricardo Ramos. Now, Yusuff, this guy, I believe, main evented a card at some point. No, he didn't. Why did I think he did? I have zero idea why. Otherwise, Ramos, 6-3 in the UFC, coming off 2 straight losses himself. He used to be pretty highly ranked. He is, oh, this is actually a pick'em between the two of them. Both of these guys coming off of losses. And Ricardo Ramos, I don't want to say saves his job, but gets back in the win column in a big way over Sodiq Yusuff. He definitely needed that win for sure. Chase Hooper now against Dan Ige. Chase Hooper 12-0-1. Coming off 3 straight wins. Quarantillo, TJ Brown, Shane Young. Dan Ige coming off 2 straight losses and a no contest. Hooper is the underdog in this one, and he gets a TKO, which is very surprising considering his striking is quite terrible. He's a good grappler, but we saw him against Alex Caceres. His striking was terrible, and you can only hope he gets better because he's so young. But he gets a big win here today. Alex Da Silva taking on Vink Pachel in the lightweight division. Pachel is 13-3, Da Silva 23-3, 3-2 in the UFC, coming off a loss to Roberto de Sousa. Pachel, 39 years of age, not a lot of time left, coming off a loss to Mustafayev. And Vink Pachel gets a big win over a young guy in Da Silva via unanimous decision. Shows some respect, you love to see it. James Krause taking on Peter Buist. I was going to say making his UFC debut, but he is not. Coming off a loss to Joey Davis in his UFC debut. The James Krause is coming off 2 straight losses. This could be a very big win for Krause. Needs a win, and he gets it via unanimous decision. And Buist, 2 straight losses straight out the gate, dog. What's going on? Yikes. We might be saying goodbye to Peter Buist. Bevon Lewis taking on Punahele Soriano in the middleweight division. Soriano missed weight by 4 pounds, so he will now be in the light heavyweight division. Coming off a loss to Kasan Ganai. We could just be cutting him if he loses this also. Bevon Lewis coming off a loss to Edmund Shabazian. And Soriano, with the 4 extra pounds, gets a win over Bevon Lewis. All right, the first fight on the main card, it is the Irish Dragon Paul Felder taking on Justin Gaethje. Paul Felder coming off a win over Islam Makhachev. Before that was having a pretty tough time. And now Justin Gaethje has had quite a rough career here in this save. Lost to Conor McGregor straight out the gate, lost to Jeremy Stevens, and then lost to Mark Jakashi. Both these guys in big need of a win, and the Irish Dragon Paul Felder beats Justin Gaethje. Wow. Justin, what is going on, buddy? That is incredible. Why is Justin doing so poorly in this save? I have no idea why. Up next, Said Nurmagomedov, 16-3, taking on Cody Garbrandt. Also not having the best time during this save. Won against Montel Jackson, lost to Rafael Sunsao, who we just saw him knock out. Pretty crazy. Before that, lost to Dodson and Ricky Simon. Nurmagomedov, 4-2 in the UFC, coming off a win over Cody Stamann. And Cody Garbrandt gets a split decision. So not the most dominating performance, but getting a win nonetheless. Cody back in the win column, you love to see it. And he's taunting Frankie Edgar for ducking him like the coward he is. That's crazy. Love to see it. Also crazy, Platinum Mike Perry taking on Gunnar Nelson. Mike Perry 15-8, and he's coming off a win over Curtis Millender. Gunnar Nelson, on the other hand, number 20 in the division, coming off a loss to Leon Edwards. Before that, he beat RDA. And Platinum Mike Perry with a big win over Gunnar Nelson. 48 seconds is all it takes for the TKO victory. Lionheart Anthony Smith taking on Alexander Gustafsson. Gustafsson, 19-8. Coming off 2 straight losses. He's having a tough go of it. On the other side, Anthony Smith, also on 2 straight losses. These guys are still ranked, so we're not going to let them go, but it's just like tough to see because one of these guys is going to have to take 3 straight losses, and it's going to be Alexander Gustafsson. Another split decision. And Anthony comes out on top. Co-main event, Travis Brown taking on Sergey Spivak. Spivak 13-2, coming off 3 straight wins. He is unranked, taking on Travis Brown, number 17 in the division, coming off a win over Ruslan Magomedov. And Travis Brown knocks out the young gun in round number 1, keeping his ranking. I'm still going strong. Y'all must have forgot. All at 6'7". Travis Brown still getting it done. And the main event of the evening, 2 old guys, Brendan Schaub. Funny to watch him on the Joe Rogan podcast sometimes. Coming off a win over Adam Zika. Still mid-level national popularity. And Frank Mir, low-level international. He's coming off 3 straight wins. This is a guy in Frank Mir. I mean, 42 years of age, but he could put himself in the top 15 with a win here. Crazy. It is our main event. Let's get it going. Frank Mir is a huge favorite. Your referee is Herb Dean, and we are underway. The 2 fighters have touched gloves. Schaub coming forward. Brendan Schaub does not have a fight team. That is something else to note. Brendan boomed in comedy, so he came back like a punching bag. Yeah. Gadoosh. Oh, he bombed in comedy. That's what you're saying. I mean, I find him funny, but not in like the comedy funny. He's just a funny guy. You know what I mean? But his comedy, not the best, in my opinion. Nothing really going on here in the first round. He's come back as a punching bag. I mean, he's coming off a win, but yeah, I mean, this guy knocked out Crow Cop, so you can say whatever you want about his record or his comedy, but he knocked out Crow Cop. Round 1 comes to an end, and it goes to Frank Mir. Oh man, people are... Apparently they're saying that Brendan Schaub has 0 way to win this fight. Imagine if this fight went down in real life right now. I mean, Frank Mir is still going at it. He's funny bantering with mates, but on his own he's bad, yeah. Like, I like to watch him on the Joe Rogan podcast because he's funny. When they're talking, uh-oh, big strike. Mir is in close. Frank Mir takes the win by knockout. Referee Herb Dean calls a stop to the action in the second round, declaring the winner by knockout Frank Mir. Now 23-14, and he's on a 4-fight winning streak. Rothwell, Brown, Ivanov, and now Brendan Schaub. What is next for Frank Mir? Is he actually gonna take like a big fight? Like maybe a top 10 fight or something like that? Let's see. We'll give it to Vasco and Dvalishvili. Performance bonuses. 48-second TKO. Got to give it to Mike Perry. Knockout by Travis Brown. Let's give it to Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper gets a bonus as well. A nice $800,000 in profit. Gustafsson making the most amount of money despite him actually losing. We'll go ahead and update our rankings, check our emails, and then sign off for this episode. The next episode is going to be the Prospect Showdown. Like I mentioned, not super important, but still fun to watch. Take a look at what's going on with all the prospects. Of course, making our way towards our next pay-per-view, which was supposed to be Nunes versus Anderson, but Amanda Nunes got injured. The new main event is now Rose Namajunas fighting Claudia Gadelha for the strawweight title. The only bummer about that is that I made that sick intro, and I spent a little bit of time on that, but it is what it is, you know? These things happen in MMA, you just gotta be ready for it. Curtis Blades fighting Derek Lewis this weekend on Saturday. Pretty excited for it. I'm a big fan of both of them. I feel like Curtis Blades is gonna win. I feel like it's not gonna be the most exciting fight, because if he tries to stand and bang with Derek Lewis, it's not going to end up, good for him. I feel like it's going to be Curtis Blades by decision, and I feel like he's going to have to fight again before he fights for a title, because if Ngannou beats Stipe, there's no way he's going to fight him. Well, first of all, because John Jones is going to be fighting next for the heavyweight title, which, say whatever you will about whether or not he deserves it, but that's an exciting fight. You know what I mean? So Curtis Blades is going to have to wait at least until, John Jones has his turn at fighting for the title. But if he beats Derek Lewis, I don't think he's going to be able to stand around and wait for like a year, 2 years for a title shot. He has a family. He probably wants to make some money, so it's just not worth it waiting for a title shot like that. Go ahead and update our rankings. Travis Brown, Frank Mir moves up in the rankings. Not by much, but he moves. Light heavyweight, no movement. Middleweight, no movement. Welterweight, Mike Perry, now number 12. Eric Koch in the rankings. Lightweight, Paul Felder and Gaethje switched spots. Featherweight, Do Ho Choi, that's our boy. That rhymed. I wonder, is Jones being tested on his time of... Are you talking about, like, drug testing in this game? I mean, there's drug testing, and Jones hasn't failed yet. So, we'll see. No picograms yet. Nurmagomedov moves down. Cody Garbrandt in at number 13. Love to see it. Flyweight, no movement. And then no movement anywhere else. So let's go and take a look at our emails, and then we'll go ahead and sign off. And Zek Chukwu needs to be re-signed. Yeah, we'll go ahead and keep him. We'll give you 2 more fights. Danny Henry. These are all guys that I'm more than likely going to be keeping anyways. Alex De Silva, I believe he's coming off a loss. 2 straight losses, but he's young. I'll go ahead and keep him anyways. Just can only hope that he gets his stuff in order. Spivak needs to be re-signed. Same thing. And he's a heavyweight. Always need more heavyweights. Gustavo Da Silva coming off a win. Definitely going to be keeping him. Dvalishvili. Eek. Like I said, 3 straight losses. We're going to be saying goodbye to him. Have a good one. Vink Pachel, also coming off a win. Go ahead and keep him. And then these are guys that are coming into our organization. Brendan Schaub, 11-8. He's still mid-level national still. I'll give him 1 more run. Yeah, 3 more fights is fine. He's popular. That's basically all that he has to offer, but it's enough. Alright, so our next episode is going to be UFC Prospect Showdown 3, Edwards versus Noveni. If you are watching on Twitch, stay tuned. I'll have that for you in about 5 minutes or so. But for you guys on YouTube, I appreciate you. Have a good one. See you in the next episode. Have a good one.